And it, like, I guess what I'm getting at is the older you get, the harder it is.
The harder it is to reverse
change.
it.
And
Yes.
like, I'm at a point in my life right now where I know the things now. Like, there was, I would say about 2-3 years ago, when these things happened, I wasn't even aware of it. Like, I had no
Right.
idea it was happening. Like, I'm like, why am I chain smoking? Why am I, you know,
Oh,
why am
smoking.
why am I destroying my life? Why am I doing all these things? I have no idea. And then as of lately, like, I catch myself doing them, but I catch myself 1 second too late before I already reacted.
But you
know?
talk to yourself
Yes.
all day long.
Oh, God, yes.
Running dialogue all day long.
Oh, God.
I thought that all human beings did that. Is that, do all human beings do that? Do we know?
I think so.
If
Like I
you're
said,
talking to
I'm
yourself
neurotic. Like,
and
I
in tune
do.
with
Yeah.
yourself, I think that it's good to talk to yourself and be in tune with yourself.
Yeah.
And that's how you can grow.
Yeah.
If you just think things are happening because they're happening,
Yeah.
then you probably won't grow. But like, if you're going, yeah, you know, if you would have woke up earlier, you wouldn't be stuck
Free
in this
will.
traffic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know, if you would have went to bed early. Oh, you know, if you would have brought your water, you wouldn't be hungry right now. You know, like these little things that you're in tune with yourself. I thought everyone did that, but maybe they don't. I don't know.
I don't think they do. I think it's kind of, have you ever heard of the Westworld, the HBO TV series Westworld?
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. It's over now, right?
It's over. So
Okay.
Westworld, I loved the show. It was on HBO like 5 years ago. It's been a while, but I think there's only 2 seasons. But it was a show about robots who, you know, were man-made that eventually became conscious.
Okay.
And in their conscious awakening, they decided to take control of their lives. And I like that show because I think humans are the same way.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of dumb. Like, we're kind of like we were saying about those neural pathways. Those neural pathways are created and we just do these dumb habits like robots. And I think growth comes from waking up and being aware of your habits and actively changing them.
Yeah.
And it's
no,
just
you're
like,
right. That's
yeah.
And to be in touch, you have to talk. You have to be talking to
You
yourself.
have to be. You almost have to be a different person. Like, you have to be outside yourself watching.
You have to be the patient and the doctor.
Yes.
And maybe even someone watching the session.
Yeah.
And taking notes on it. You have to
Yeah.
be like 3 different things. You know, I saw this thing. So I play golf. Tiger Woods. Everybody knows Tiger Woods is probably the best golfer of all time, depending on who you ask. So he was like the best golfer in the world for many, many years.
Yeah.
And he was still making adjustments to his swing, which is really insane, right? Like, you just kicked everyone's ass and you're trying to perfect it and do it even better.
Yeah.
If you know anything about golf, when you start changing your swing, like, shit can go really, really bad. You can,
Yeah.
and there's a period of time where he wasn't playing all that well, but people close to him said they would play golf with Tiger, and they never once heard Tiger Woods talk badly to himself.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that, like, wow, here this guy is the best, like the best. You know what I mean? Not just kind of good, not just a hobbyist, the best.
Yeah.
Falling from grace, for not even on the social part, just like the physical part, and still is not telling himself he's stupid, you're a dummy, you're an idiot. Why would you? None of that stuff he's saying to himself. He's just saying, okay, I have the next shot. All right, this is what I got, and I'm going to take the next shot.
he's doing, like, he's truly in the moment, because that's what being in the moment is. Being in the moment is being like, okay, what's this next moment going to bring? What could I do in this next moment? Not like us dumb idiots, like, you know what I mean? We're like,
see, there you go.
I'm doing it.
There you go.
I'm
yourself dumb idiot. But that's what Mamba. You know, so Kobe Bryant, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Mamba mentality. Yeah. People throw that shit around way too willy-nilly. I don't know if that's the word. Willy-nilly, like, I don't know. Willy-nilly Nelson. But like, Mamba mentality is like being mentally tough to not tell yourself you suck. You're not a piece of shit. You're not a failure. You're not a loser. You just found another way that it doesn't work, and now you're going to go back and try it the next way. You know what I mean? And like, there's people like that. Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Kobe Bryant. You know, most of us are not able to get ourselves to that. David Goggins. Yeah. Most of ourselves are not able to get ourselves to that level.
Yeah.
You know, but it starts with how you feel about yourself, how you talk to yourself, and like how you care for yourself and your mental being. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Do you sleep well?
On and off. I have periods of insomnia.
Oh my
and
gosh,
then
that's tough.
And then I have periods of like deep sleep. So right now I'm coming out of an insomnia period and I'm going into like a deep sleep period.
Okay.
So I'm doing well.
So you're
now.
happy during the deep sleep and it's tough during the insomnia?
Yes. Yes.
You sleep on your stomach or your back?
Side.
What
about you?
Stomach. I get horrible sciatica pain.
Do you have it like every day?
No, I'll go like 3 weeks, 3 months without it, and then I'll go like 5 days straight, like can't walk.
Yeah.
So then I started sleeping on my back. Then I started using a wedge. So now my legs are up, my knees are up in the air, like I'm at the OBGYN's office. But I've been sleeping, when I sleep on my back, it's a deeper sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm waking up pain-free, but I think that's because I'm, manipulating my legs.
I wish I could sleep on my back because I actually have scoliosis, so I have like a lot of back issues.
Oh man.
So I've tried so hard to train myself to sleep on my back, and I love sleeping on my side. It's very it's like being in the fetal position. It's very like comforting.
You put the pillow between your legs?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a big. I love that. Like I need something on my butt. Like I need to be like in the fucking womb. Like
why don't you get? You don't got the weighted comforter? You didn't get that?
I don't have a weighted comforter, but I have like literally three comforters on my bed. Like
if you put 4 comforters, they weigh much as one heavy comforter.
Yeah.
I wrap tight and bundle.
Yeah.
Like when I sleep, like I want to be cozy and warm.
Me too.
And I think that may be a sign of like anxiety.
Yeah.
I think that I know, like with dogs, they make those things that wrap the dog up.
Yeah.
Those little sweaters and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
It's supposed to help them with their anxiety. Maybe that's a human thing.
Yeah, no, I'm very big on I love baths. I love a hot bath. Huge on the hot bath because it's like that same feeling of just being like totally, Okay, so that's what you learned this year was not to care what people think anymore.
Yeah. Well, I'm still learning it, but yes.
Yeah.
That's my journey.
The thing that I learned this year, because I had this epiphany lately, and that's why I was like, well, I wonder what epiphany he had. So I can learn, I get a shortcut to another epiphany. Right. My epiphany was that no one can really. Well, it's not gonna sound right when I say it because it's not 100% true, but no one can really heal you except you. So you can get inspiration from other people, but your own path to healing has to come from your own intuition.
But what did you say before that? It's going to sound what?
It's going to sound like it doesn't make any sense because it's...
I think it makes perfect. It makes all the sense in the world.
Well, okay, so...
See, that's an example of you.
Of doubting myself.
You just said something that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I will even call it profound. But then you put out the it doesn't make any sense.
I think what I meant by that was it's not 100% because people it's not that you can't get help. You can get help from people because you can.
Yeah, but when they help you, they're helping you master you, and then you're changing you.
Exactly.
They're not changing you.
Yeah.
They're asking you questions and putting you in situations that make you ask you the questions and figure yourself out.
I think in the past I would look at mentors as a blueprint for they mentors had the blueprint for me to follow, and I had to find the right piano teacher or the right therapist, and they would give me just instructions to be the person I wanted to be. And I finally learned that, to no fault of their own, they're going to be wrong about some things because they don't really 100% know what's best for you.
And they don't know, they don't know all the stuff that's in your brain.
Yeah, and that's a major epiphany that I had this year. I was like, holy shit, no one's gonna help me except for me.
That's a huge step.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
if you ask someone a question, do you always want an answer? And now this is gonna sound weird. I guess what I'm saying is if you ask someone a question, would you want them to tell you the right or the wrong way to do something, or would you want them to provide you with a thought or a path for you to determine what you think is right?
think in the past I wanted when I would go to therapy, we would talk about stuff, and then we would go down these questions, and he'd be like, well, what's the cause of this? And I'd be like, I don't know, probably not having confidence in myself. And he's like, well, how do you build confidence in yourself? And I'd be like, well, I don't know. I'm paying you to tell me that.
You're the one with the diplomas on the wall. What the hell?
That's why, if I knew that, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
I used to always, I didn't actually say that, but in my head, I was thinking that well, I don't fucking know how to like myself. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And I finally realized that they can help point out what you need to do, but you've got to find out how to do it.
Well, I think with therapists, there are some people who just keep on asking why and how's they feel and how do you feel.
That's annoying. That's annoying.
And they're just taking your money. We'll see you next month for another next week, and it's going to cost you $80 copay again, and I'm going to bill your insurance company, and I drive a Maserati, and you know what I mean. But sometimes people will put you in a position where you have to think it out, and then you may realize there's not even a right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
It's just you ever had someone has anyone ever asked you how should I feel about that? Have you ever heard someone say that? Or how would you feel about it?
I do that. I ask people that.
It's like, why does it matter?
Why
does it matter how I feel about it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and so the reason why I say it is because like my girlfriend, she'll talk, and a lot of times I'll just kind of like pose a hypothetical, and she used to think I was kind of like blowing her off and like being an asshole.
Yeah.
But it was like to say this to like think about how you're thinking about what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you realize maybe there is no right or wrong answer, and it's a feeling thing. Yeah. But I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't even know how I got on that subject, but that's
no. I understand what you're saying like completely. It's like a lot of, there is no right or wrong answer. A lot of it is just like how you want to perceive it. You can kind of make anything true based on like how you want to perceive it.
Yeah, for most of the questions in the world, if it's not like a mathematical based question, there's a scientific fact. It's about how you feel and how you want to feel. You know, and so many times we turn to someone else to be like, how should I feel or make me feel? And it's like, no, dude, you're in control of that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I think that's a big step. I think that's a big step.
That's why I do believe in free will. Like I do believe that people have the power to make decisions. Like not everything is fate. Not everything is destiny. No. Sometimes I do believe like things are synchronicities and like weird coincidences. I do believe that. Yeah. But I think for the most part, the human mind is really powerful. Like we can do a lot.
It's extremely powerful. Well, and I think like energy, right? So energies, like you ever be like, I don't like the vibe in that room. And it's only because you could feel like this guy's a fucking snake. She's a bitch. Yeah. And these two are in cahoots. And you can just feel this and you're like, I don't want to be in that room.
Yeah.
And like your body told you that. That's like our spidey sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your brain felt something and said, yo, these people are bad. Get the fuck out of there.
Or like if people were talking about you, you can feel it. You can feel it. Like type of thing. Or just like if you're in a room with somebody and they're upset with you, even if they don't vocalize it, like you can just like feel it or see it.
Now, if you're in a room and someone's upset with you, do you say, excuse me, Albert, I can tell you're upset with me. Do you want to talk about it? What did I do? Or do you just kind of like hope it doesn't go any further?
I'll just say like, hey, are you okay? But do women is that something that women commonly do to their boyfriends? Because I feel like men usually complain that women are like, are you okay? What are you thinking? And they're like, dude, I'm just not thinking anything. I'm thinking about tits and beer. Like I'm not thinking. And like women will be like, are you okay? Can we talk about it? Like, is that kind of annoying? You know?
Yeah, it is annoying. Because sometimes if I'm thinking. My girlfriend will be like, what's going on? And I say, nothing. And she's like, you sure? And then I'll be like, I'm using my brain for something else that isn't you.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying that to be mean, but like, I'm thinking about things that are for me.
I think women are very like, is he upset? Did I do it? Is it like, I think women are super analytical. So if they see that their man is like in deep thought and they look like perplexed or confused, like, I think a woman's first thought is like, is it me? Did I do something? Are we breaking up? Like, do you love me?
I'm thinking things like, I wonder if the key to time travel is a human being actually has to go through a black hole. Yeah. I've been thinking that for like 5 years. Like, because I've seen like the diagrams of like time travel and you go through is the black hole the portal to time travel that no one is going through? That's like the shit I'll be thinking about that. And my girl will be like, is everything okay? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm going back to thinking about things I have no idea about. Yeah. Right? And she's like, well, did I do something? And it's like, no, I'm thinking about this stuff that I have going on in my brain.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, I'm using my brain for something else that doesn't concern you. And I think that upsets her.
Does that shit make her mad?
Well, I don't know how else to say. Like, I'm using my brain. It's
very matter of fact.
That's why these faces are coming. That's why I'm going, wait.
I have a history of that myself. I get lost in thought a lot, and I'm Italian, so like I'm very like I'm like using my hands like I'm very expressive. So like a lot of times people like that are close friends with me, like back when they weren't close friends with me, they'll later on tell me like, hey, you know, when we first met, I thought you hated my guts.
You didn't like me.
And I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, you always made weird faces. And then they're like, I finally realized later that your weird faces was just you thinking. And I'm like, yeah, like that's how I am. Like I'll just be like sitting there like, like, you know.
Yeah.
And
or like you ever just start laughing to yourself and people are like, what's so funny? You're like, it's me. I created a funny thing in my brain. It's for me. It's for me. Leave me the fuck alone.
It's like you're interrupting a conversation I'm having with myself.
Some deep shit's going on in here. It's usually me writing a joke in my brain. You ever have someone say to you like, I've like you, well, not someone say to you, a lot of times when people say when we first met I didn't like you, or a lot of people who when I first met I didn't like, I end up being very close with, and good friends with.
Always, it always happens.
And it's like the person you meet, you're like, this guy's awesome, or this girl's awesome. After like 3 weeks, you're like, what a fucking loser.
You're like, what a fucking maniac.
Yeah,
like I didn't see that
get the fuck away from me. Yeah, I've usually found that like the people who are a little harder to get to know, or you end up having the stronger relationships with, for sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple more questions.
Yeah, let's go.
I asked you, what's new with you? Like, anything to update. And one of the things you wrote was, I hate all politicians.
Oh, shit. So I do hate all politicians.
So we did have a little bit of a political talk last year.
We did.
And a lot of people, they enjoyed listening to that. I remember your stance was that we were kind of both in agreement that we're both kind of in the center politically. I think. But now your update is that you hate all politicians. Can you explain what's going on in
Totally. So actually, I replay the conversation that we had in our head. I replay that a lot. Yeah, I think that was a very lovely conversation. Yeah. And I think about it a lot. I'm at the point where I realize that most American politicians are way more wealthy than the average American. Yeah. And they put on this WWE style fucking battle in front of the cameras. I don't even watch that shit. But they put on this front and in front of the cameras of, you're this and you're that, and then they convince us, I guess they convince us that someone else is a reason for our problems. And then all the while they're filthy fucking rich. Like after Christmas, our economy is going to go to the basement. Yeah. Save up your money and you're going to buy stock after Christmas. It's going to be cheap as can be. If they lose one house, they have 4 others to go to. Mm-hmm. If we lose one house, most of us are fucked.
Homeless.
Yeah. Yes, homeless, living with the in-laws, living with the mom. We're in rough shape. And they make these rules and these laws, and you can do that and you can do, and they're just rich fucking assholes.
It's like, it's very inauthentic to hear, we want to help this, coming from people who don't need that help.
Yeah. It's like they're all worth so much. They're worth so much money. Yeah. How you have a job that pays $200,000 a year and you're worth $60 million? Yeah. How did that happen? Because there's so much stuff going on. They're taking money from lobbyists, and I think the thing that pisses me off the most, and this is really what it comes down to, is I think most people in America are pretty centered. Like I call myself a logicrat. I use logic to make decisions about things that are important. What our politicians are doing now is they're convincing us that if you don't agree with me, you're evil, you're against me, you want to hurt me, you're un-American, and we need to get rid of you. Yeah. Or we need, you hate America. And it's like, no, the fuck I don't. I just think that tax dollars would be better to use this than doing, or whatever it may be. But the politicians will call you a far right, a far left. And everything that CNN is saying, Fox is saying the same thing in the opposite direction. So you got these two things just going like this. Yeah. And most of us are like I know tons of people who are way more conservative than I am. So we would call them, I guess, Republicans. I don't even know what they stand politically, but they're way more conservative than I am. And I see them 3 times a week. Never rude to me. Never hurt my feelings, never said anything to upset me, never made me feel alienated or uncomfortable, never called me a name. But if you were to turn on the TV, if you didn't live here and you just turned on the TV and you watched CNN, you'd be like, wow, Republicans are pretty fucking evil people, don't you think? Yeah. You know what I mean? Or if you watch Fox, you'd be like, so Democrats are pretty evil, right? Yeah. And that's not the case at all. And that's why I hate those motherfuckers. I cannot stand them.
Yeah, it's like, I do remember you saying this at the last episode. You were like, and the joke's on us because we're the ones feeding into it.
Fighting it out.
And our lives are severe. I think I heard, I don't know if I heard this on somebody else's podcast or one of my friends said this. They're like, if you watch the news, you would think that the whole people are just beating each other up on the streets all the time. I mean, that might have been true during the riots, but on an everyday basis, you would think that everyone's just shitting on each other and cursing each other just
who'd you vote for?
Yeah, if you actually go out into the world and you just talk to people, I mean, there are a lot of scumbags in the world, but
There's a lot of normal bags.
Normal bags. You'll probably just have like some pretty decent interactions with human beings.
If you looked at everyone and you said, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing?"
Most of them would be friendly.
Would be like, "Hey, what's up, man?"
Yeah.
I guarantee. We should do an experiment. I guarantee you, if you saw everybody from the hours of 7 o'clock to 10, well, in Philly, we'll say 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and you said, "Hey, good morning, how you doing?" I guarantee you could get a free cup of coffee off of someone.
Yeah.
I guarantee you someone would be like, "Hey, let me buy you a cup of coffee."
Yeah.
Because I think we want to like each other. I really believe that because that's who human beings are. We're hurting
supposed
people.
We're supposed
to help each other. Yeah, because we know like many years ago, if we didn't all get together and help each other, saber-toothed tigers would just kill all of us. You know what I mean?
It does seem like we are evolving into a selfish society on many different levels. It's like, okay, everybody have their own apartment.
Yes.
Like everybody be in their phone. Everybody have their own social media. Everybody, it's like very, don't have kids anymore. Who wants kids? That's disgusting. Like it's very like, it's becoming like a very selfish, and I don't even necessarily mean selfish as in like you're a bad person. I mean selfish as in like you don't do things with people. like you're by yourself.
So yeah, it's like closed circle.
Bubble. Like exactly. Yeah.
You're like a bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're 100% right. And like, yeah, you go by like a house and there's like 9 cars there.
Yeah.
That means every person in the family is in their own world and has to go in their own direction at any given time. Go get your own apartment. Most people, once they turn 18, are out the fucking door.
Or like, do you notice how like apartment, how like I mean, I don't know how it is. We live in a city, so it's different. But like, or you live in a city. I live, near.
Awfully close.
But when I was living in Somerville was always a like suburban area. All of a sudden there was just like apartments shooting everywhere because it's like, well, now I need places for all these apartments. You know what I mean? Because people aren't having families anymore.
Yeah.
People are,
Yeah. No, we are very like I don't know. We isolative, is that a word? Isolating, self-isolating.
Self-isolating. That sounds like it would make sense.
That sounds good, right? Sounds like a science.
Sounds self-isolating.
Yeah, so we isolate ourselves very, very much, absolutely, and we stay away from people, and I mean, social media I think is kind of evil. Yeah. And that'll be the downfall. When they open the books, you talk about the Industrial Revolution and this and the Civil War, all these big moments in history, there'll be like a social media revolution, and there'll be a block of time where social media like was working against us and kind of like crippling our growth and development as a society. I really believe that.
It's funny. I think if you wanted to not participate in evil, you would not be part of society at all, because it's like everything like. The cell phone is evil because it's like it's created by like slaves, literally. Like
right.
It's created by like underage, people who shouldn't even be working for very low, low wages.
Our shoes, I mean, I know this company I get my shoes from. They probably are exploiting someone for labor.
So it's like, how do you live? Like the only way to not participate in any evil is just to not participate in society.
Yeah, that's what the monks are doing, right? Isn't that what they do when they're out there?
Yeah, I told that to one of my friends, and his counter argument was like, but that's evil too, because if there's evil existing in your society, you need to be a part of that society in order to help other people going through that evil. So my friend's argument, which was like, I thought like a decent argument, he's like, monks are also like kind of
selfish
because it's kind of just like, I'm just not going to deal with this at all.
Yeah,
like, you know what I
mean? Yeah, that's a really good point. Oh, that's deep.
So like, I think one thing I've thought of is like, kind of be the Robin Hood, like the case of Robin Hood, steal from the rich, give to the poor type of thing. Not literally steal from the rich, but like have the cell phone and make the money, and then if you become successful, use that money to give to charity.
Yeah,
like to me, that's what makes the most sense. Like if I'm not going to be a monk and I'm not going to be evil, maybe I can play in the game of evil and then use my success.
And then flip it on them. What's your social media? What comes through on your feed? You get a lot of politics. You probably get a lot of music.
I get a lot of comedy, a lot of music.
Yeah,
right? That's what I get.
A lot of music.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
I don't know how I got I don't know how the political stuff started. Probably because I talk like this when I'm talking about
the algorithm.
The algorithm is just feeding me stuff. But here's what's really crazy about it. I've been a little more aggressive towards the Democratic Party, because I guess I'm registered independent. but I guess I'm a little more liberal or Democrat leaning on some things. But I've been very judgmental. I've been talking a lot of shit about them because I think they suck too. And then I've noticed that my algorithm is now feeding me stories spun to cater to the right winger in me.
I mean, our phone is probably listening to us right now.
Oh, I'm gonna get in the car. It's gonna be.
I wanted to kind of like work this into a bit actually, but I pray. I like to pray to God, and I pray out loud. And the other day,
that would be fucking great. That would be so good.
I was praying. I was praying to God, like, 'cause, we're talking about growth and stuff. Mm-hmm. I said, God, please show me the path I need to, for enlightenment. And then I started getting videos on my YouTube about enlightenment, and at first I'm like, God, listen, I'm like, no, that was just the algorithm. That was just like,
that's a great fucking joke. That's a great joke. You better write that soon.
I gotta figure out how to like work it into like a funny bit, but it's like,
God, listen. No, it wasn't Zuckerberg was listening. Yeah.
Like, if you pray to God out loud and you start getting videos with the clues, it's not God.
The
it's
Lord
Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, and I think that, so this all kind of ties into politics, but the politicians and the messages are coming through our Instagram and our social medias. I think that they're actually probably from some fake accounts that were made overseas. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if that makes me a conspiracy theorist. That makes me a bit of a realist. But I think that there's value in other countries like undermining the U.S. and making us like the divided states of America. Yeah. And it's not against the law for Russia to have, for a country to just make fake accounts and start hitting the like button for Donald Trump stuff and then the like button for Biden stuff, and then that gets put in the machine and comes out. That's not against the law. That's just playing the game.
There has been a lot of shadow banning on Instagram.
I don't even know what the fuck is shadow
banning. So, okay, and it might have something to do with what you're talking about because, okay, shadow banning is when the posts you put up don't go out because it's being flagged as a couple things. Okay. It could be flagged as potentially harmful to the public, or it could be flagged as spam. Okay. And I noticed recently I made a post, and I have another account like that I use for I run my sister's photography account. FYI, anybody who follows my sister's photography account, that's actually me, because she's like a busy mother with kids and I want to help her get business. So I run her account for her. And then I have a band account. I posted something on my other account, and then I went on my the other account to check it and didn't come up.
It wasn't there.
And I was like, what the fuck happened? I looked up online. Apparently now it's pretty strict. Like certain hashtags, if you use the same hashtags frequently in your posts, the algorithm flags you as potential spam. Because think about it, if you're a robot, like they would just generate
let's go Brandon,
and
let's
recreate.
Go Brandon,
and I just do it by habit. Like I'll just write comedian, this and that. But if you post often and you often use the same hashtags, they might flag. And then I was like, holy shit, they thought I was like a Russian bot or something. Yeah. Because I'm like, what the hell? Nothing. I'm not doing anything offensive. Like what the
well, that means that if they do it, then that means they must exist, right? They wouldn't do that if they didn't exist. So
that's what I mean. Like maybe that has something to do with that. It's like they had to become more strict with those rules because there probably was a lot of spam and bot accounts and stuff like that.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane. So that's how much AI or whatever you want to call that is intertwined in our society, is that political decisions are made based on what you read on your phone.
Yeah.
Because you think that's the real news. You think that's what it really is. And, that's why I hate the politicians, because of the I guess it's a whole systematic thing between what they say on TV, what comes through your phone, and you want to know what pisses me off? The president of the United States has a press secretary. I think that's the most fucked up thing in the world. The guy we hired, or a woman at some point we hired to do the job, doesn't talk to the American people. Somebody else goes up there and tries to explain what's going on in someone else's head. That doesn't even make any fucking sense. Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
No. Yeah.
If you called me and I was like, talk to my press secretary, and then someone else got on the phone like, what Albert meant when he said that was, you'd be like, well, why the fuck wouldn't you just tell me that? Mm-hmm. So the guy we hired, and all presidents have one, so this isn't just a Joe Biden thing or a Donald Trump thing or an Obama thing or a Clinton thing. But why did the person we hire to work for the American people, why can't they take 45 minutes out of their day to address American people?
Yeah.
How come the congressmen are not on TV talking to their constituents every fucking day?
Yeah.
Every day. What are you doing that you can't talk to us for 45 minutes?
That's funny. The last time you were over.
Did I say that too?
No, the last time you were over was when the Joe Rogan thing happened.
Oh,
where he said the N-word or whatever.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of criticism, like, why are so many people listening to Joe Rogan's podcast and not the news? It's because, and I remember I didn't say it on the episode, but I said it on a different episode. I'm like, because where's Joe Biden's podcast? Like, if Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, I mean, they might
to us.
They actually
talk to us.
They might have one now, but the point I was trying to make was like what you're saying. I listen to their podcast if they were authentic. Like
I would tune out. I would tune out. Hey, oh shit, it's 5:50. Oh, the president's talking. I want to hear what happened today.
Yeah.
Hey, I woke up at 7. I had a meeting with this person. Here's how this is going with China. Here's the trade deal we're trying to make. Here's the infrastructure deal we're trying to make. Here's what we're doing for education. Why are not all congressmen and senators doing that at least once a week?
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is what's going on. I drive by the congressional offices in Philadelphia. Yeah. They're fucking empty.
Yeah.
You listen to me, Philadelphia? Go by your congressmen, your councilmen. Go by their offices. There's nobody in there. There's no one in there. What are you doing? You're not working for us. You're not there. That's what pisses me off about the politicians. But like, yeah, that's like just a small example. Or like, the Brittany Griner thing. I'm glad when anyone gets their freedom from an oppressive thing. I'm proud. I'm happy for them. Okay. There are so many people in the United States of America who are still sitting in a holding cell for the same exact thing that Brittany Griner just got released for. That we swapped the criminal, whatever. And I don't even know too much about that. I'm not going to dive into. But like, don't get all hyped up that one person got liberated from evil Russia for breaking Russian laws. Yeah. Because there's people in America right now sitting in a fucking holding cell right now getting fucked and like beat up for the same exact thing. All the while, I could go down to the dispensary and get the same exact fucking chemical compound that was illegal. I can go get that right fucking now.
There was a guest on my podcast like 2 guests ago before you that he told us a story on the podcast that he almost went. He was sentenced to prison for 5 years, like 4 or 5 years because of drugs. Like he wasn't even a drug dealer. Like it was like he was found like smoking weed. They found weed. Yeah, and this was before. This was like a while ago. Yeah. And he had to plead not insanity, but he had to like pretend he had a serious addiction issue so that they would put him in a correction facility and not prison.
Oh, like a rehab kind of deal.
Yeah. So like I guess like it's kind of like pleading insanity, but pleading like I'm ill type of thing. A little bit, So he literally was like, and I was like, damn, like that's like crazy. Like if he was sentenced to prison, no, I think it was like 25 years. Like it was like a lot of time.
You gotta think about it. Like every American should be absolutely. There's people whose dads were not home for 15 years.
Yeah.
For the same shit that we just got this victory for Brittany Griner and there's people who didn't see their dad for like 15, 10, 12, 6, 2 years for the same exact shit.
Yeah.
Right? And then that guy, this is even the more exhausting part. And then that guy or gal finally gets out of prison and what can't they do? They can't vote.
Yeah.
They're a fucking felon. So now they have no voice going forward. So everyone who thinks that was a beautiful thing, yes, it was a beautiful thing because we liberated someone who was in fucking prison. And
then the question is like, how do we even help? Like, let
him out.
Yeah.
Let him out. Swap. Give the fuck you gotta do. Let him out. Like, let them the fuck out. There's people go to Rikers Island and they die.
How do we as citizens convince them to be let out? Like that's what I'm getting at. Is like how do we?
Good luck. You think a politician's gonna listen to it?
Yeah, I know.
You think politicians? I don't know.
I think that's like one of the reasons why I've always kind of like been the monk, I guess you could say, with politics and like just play dumb. Like I don't want, because like when it comes down to it, I'm like, how do I even help? Like my voice. Is that how you help? Just speak out.
Who's listening to you? Who is listening?
Exactly. Like so it's like
who was listening?
Like I've always been kind of ashamed. Like, for example, Joe Biden. Okay. I don't know that many facts about Joe Biden because, like, always the way I looked at it was like, okay, I can learn all these facts about Joe Biden, but how do I know which facts are the truth? Because like I've never met this guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like I'm hearing your facts and I'm hearing your facts. They're a lot. Some of them are the same. A lot of them are different. I don't know this guy. How, like, so I feel like the problem that I've always had with politics is I feel like it's so out of my control. And again, that could be like a selfish monk way to look at it.
I get what you're.
I feel like I don't know what to do. I literally don't know what to do to help.
Yeah.
And again, we were talking about this with my other podcast guest, the one who almost got sentenced to prison. We were talking about like what you could do is help what's in front of you. So like I don't know what I could help, but I could help the issues that I see in front of me in my life.
That would be the best that you could do.
Yeah.
You know, but that's like one of the reasons why I hate politicians. Like what you said, who's going to listen to you?
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on? Can I talk to you for a second? I mean, you know what I think? I think it should be. I think that if during the working hours of the day, a politician should not have the right to knowingly lie or just ignore and refuse to answer an American taxpayer.
Yeah.
So when there are those press briefings and the guy goes, that's for another time and they don't want to talk, that should be against the law. Because if I go in front of the Congress and I start lying to them, they got a law for that, right? What was it? It's called perjury, right? Yeah. Perjure yourself. They got a thing for that. Why they perjure themselves all the time? If they were under oath when they spoke to us, they would perjure themselves all the fucking time. Yeah. But there's no accountability for them. They're fucking evil. I hate them.
I have one more question before we end the podcast because we're just reaching about time when I usually end it.
Oh my gosh.
This is so going into like, well, how could we help? Kind of. If you had your ideal president, what would be the qualities of, if we had to pick a president and we got to help, if we got to choose and we got to have control, what would be your qualities of an ideal president?
Okay. The first thing I would I hate when politicians talk about how they're going to get into office and they're going to fight, because you don't get anything done when you fight. You know, it'd be like you getting married and you're giving your wedding vows and you're like, babe, from this day on, I vow that I will fight every day to make sure I get what I want. You'd be like, that's the dumbest shit ever. So I'd want someone who was a very good negotiator, compromiser, and very good at bringing people together. I would want someone that kind of had no political affiliation and just went off of like logic. I would want someone who could not be reelected again. So someone who just had to go in there and do the best job they could possibly do, and their legacy would be on that 4 years. That's what you did, and then you're done. And I would want someone that brought people together, and by people I mean like the congressmen and the senators. I want to bring them together because they're the ones who make the rules. But like,
I think I would want somebody with authentic roots too. And by authentic roots, I mean like they actually had a story of struggle in their life. Like they actually had to. They care about the American people because they know what struggle is. Like kind of the opposite of what you were saying. Why you take issue with politicians because you don't think they have that. You think that they're just spoiled.
Who was the lady who was like talking about the fuel and that, and then she's like, "Well, I drove here in my electric car." And it's like, bitch, you over here talking about you drive a Tesla? Motherfuckers can't afford Teslas.
I'll never forget this, and I feel bad if this person hears this, but because it's like it's not a friend, but it's like a friend of a friend of a friend. So there's a chance
someone you may meet at a party in a couple of.
I met him at a party.
Okay.
We had a conversation, and in the conversation, she was like, she was like, my dad. I'll never forget this, but I hate this type of car. It was like a type of car that she hated. It was I don't remember which model it was, but let's just say a Honda Civic. Okay. Like just to say it, because I can't remember. I hate Honda Civics so much. And my dad, he had to go buy me a Honda Civic as my first car. I hated that thing. Hearing her complain about this free car she got from her dad and how pissed she was. Like it was like, I can't relate to that. Like coming from I've come from very poor roots, and like I don't want to say very poor roots, but like
but you didn't get a new car when
I didn't get it. Like
16. You didn't get a fucking car.
I feel like I come from poor roots, okay? And to say like just to hear somebody complain about that, like that's a life I can't. That's a complaint I can never have. Like, you know what I mean? Like damn it, I didn't get a free Jeep. I got a free Honda instead.
It's I was talking to someone about like Meghan Markle and Harry have their thing on Netflix. I think that does expose some things about like the royal family and how they do things.
Yeah.
But it's a tough sell, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, it's got to be to explain to somebody that they should sympathize and feel your pain because you're just so goddamn wealthy. Yeah. People won't leave you alone. It's like, yo, you know how callous that is? There's people sleep on the floor.
So, like, people harass them for money? Is that what they're trying to say?
No, they're talking about, the paparazzi this, and, marrying Meghan was so difficult because people were just in our business all the time, and then, there's maybe a little bit of racism with the family, royal family, and this and that. And it's like, you guys still have it made. Like, you left all that, and you still have it made.
Yeah.
So, like, excuse me if I don't, like, really, my heart doesn't bleed for you, because I know there's people in other countries who sleep on dirt.
Yeah.
Like literally dirt. I'm not trying to be rude. Like they sleep on the fucking dirt.
Yeah.
And they piss on the other side of a piece of sheet metal.
That's why I said, like, all in all, I can't say I'm that poor because I know in other I'm American poor.
Right. American
like
poor
in
is
other
different,
like I still have like look at my basement. Like we're good. We're doing fine.
Right.
In other countries, there's people that like literally can't eat that day. Like they're starving.
Yes,
so
they're
it's
in
like
survival mode.
I feel sometimes I feel weird saying I'm poor because it's like, well, am I?
Yeah.
I'm American version of poor.
Right. There's heat on right now. Like
there's heat
exactly. Like there's central air. But so it's like, that's so back to the politician. Like I would want someone who, but I don't want to go back to that. I almost forgot this, but a really good example of that, and this is kind of insane. Of politicians being out of touch. So in Philadelphia, to get a permit to carry a handgun, you can just apply for one of those. But if you have a medical marijuana license, you cannot. But you can have a firearm and you can drink all day long.
That doesn't make
whenever the fuck you want. You can get as drunk as you like. But if you have medical marijuana, meaning the doctor said you need to have this, you can't have a fire because I guess you get high and want to shoot people.
Dude, you would get drunk and want to shoot people.
You would get drunk and want to shoot the shit out of, yes.
You would get high and
be like, dude, that gun makes too loud of a noise. Get it away from me.
Yeah.
Like, it's too heavy. I don't even want to pick it up. No one gets high and everyone wants to.
If I was high, I would be too paranoid to even like pick the gun up. I'd be like it's gonna go off in my hands. Like people don't understand how the high brain is. You know what I mean? Like if you were drunk, you'd be like, fuck you.
Yeah, you'd be pointing it at shit. Yeah, exactly. You'd be pistol whipping your fucking dog and shit. Yeah. But that's an example of an out of touch politician. So these fucking are so out of touch. They think that alcohol and firearms are a better mix than cannabis and firearms.
No, that's
an out of touch politician.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
Fucking idiots. That's why I hate them.
All right, so we're gonna end the podcast here. Politicians, I fucking hate them.
All right, we're gonna end it here. This thing's getting weird.
No, I don't have an enlightening question to end the podcast with. Or I do. Well, kind of. Okay, we'll go here.
All right, hit me with it.
I thought we wouldn't have time, but I could always split this into 2 episodes. I do that sometimes.
You could, yeah.
Yeah, I do part 1 and part 2 when it's a longer episode.
Before you ask that, I have an enlightening question. I feel like when we talk, we get pretty deep. Is that true, or does everyone come on here and talk about some deep shit?
Okay, I don't want to brag, but I think I have... I'm allowed to brag right now because I just beat myself up like most of the podcast, but this is one thing I'm actually like pretty confident in. I do think I have an ability to bring that out of people.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I think it's
that's a good quality to have.
I think it's a gift I have.
Yes, it's a very good quality.
I think I'm a deep thinker myself, and I think I don't know what it is. Like I've been one of those people that like my whole life that people like tell me their problems. Like I'm one of those people that like
I get that too. It's like fuck what I am.
Boy. I don't know. I'm into this stuff, and I think I have like a way of bringing it out of people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we do get deep.
No, Albert, you're not special. Everyone comes in here and gets deep.
No, but I will say this though. Everybody comes here gets deep, but you get deeper.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay,
You're like they all get deep. I can make an idiot like have like a breakthrough. You know what I mean? But you are one of the top deep.
I'm the top deep.
Yes. So with that being said, you are special.
All right, there you go.
But they all get
They all get deep.
And pardon me, like there may have been like 1 or 2 idiots on here, but there may have been one person that I couldn't get deep. Actually, there's, and then I think in the whole podcast they got deep like finally, but it took like till the very end of the podcast.
Boo
but
that person.
most of the people that some people surprised me. Like some people I was like, oh, this is going to be like, you know, like what's the phrase? Like something with a wall. I don't know. This would be like talking to a wall or something. And then by the end of the podcast, I got them to open up. But
nice.
All right. This one is deep.
Okay.
The meaning of life. I think this is an ever-evolving question. There is no right answer. At the current phase of your life, how would you describe the meaning of life? I said life twice.
Nice. I like that. The purpose of my life is there's 2 young ladies that I'm raising to be hopefully phenomenal young women and good friends and partners.
Your daughter and your wife. No, just kidding.
No, well, my daughter and my 2 daughters. So my daughter has a sister. I don't think, did you know? Well, she must have been around, but last time we met, that was a year ago. So yeah, she was around.
Yeah.
So my daughter has a sister. Sister is not bloodline connected to me, but you know, don't really care.
Yeah.
And when I'm with my daughter, I'm usually 99.999% of the time, her sister is with her. So I consider those my 2 daughters. The purpose of my life at this juncture in time is to teach them everything I can, make them contributing members to society, make sure they know right from wrong, make sure they can generate their own happiness, make sure that they're not, victims of. Make sure that their brains are clear and they're not in their own ways and not in their way, like we talked about earlier. That's my goal of life right now. And when it's all said and done, I just hope when I'm not here anymore that at least a few people could be like, that Albert Davis was something else.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, I do want to have kids one day. And like, I think I want to have daughters because like, I want to, it could be a son too, but it's kind of like I want to live I want to see my chance. I want to see this may be a selfish way to put it, but I want to see myself have another chance. And I want to like give my daughter or son, you know, the chance to have a life that wasn't traumatic. Right. You know what I mean? So I guess the fear is like, you don't know if you accidentally traumatize them. Like there could be things going on.
You know, the thing about parenting is you don't find out till 20 years later.
Yeah, like you could be you could be reading the handbooks and like doing everything right. And then in 10 years, they could be like, Daddy, you did comedy too much. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you call that nickname you gave me for the past 10 years, I hated.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, fuck, I tried my hardest.
But on the serious note, just the fact that you're even consciously doing that, because I think a lot of these kids that were traumatized was because they had parents that didn't even think of that at all. Like they were just like they didn't give a shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like there was a lot of parents who really didn't put that type of work. So just the fact that you're actually consciously aware of like, okay, I want to do things that make my daughter a better person. Yeah. You're already a good father. You might screw up along the way. You might. Oh, you'll screw up. Yeah. But the fact, and you even like tell them, because we're about to end, you have a podcast devoted to this.
Yeah. So me and Philadelphia comic Jay Yoder will be releasing episodes probably in 2 weeks. It's called Seriously Dad? ? And it's like, because here's what happens when fathers get around other fathers. They start talking about their kids. Yeah. And I realize that, we as comics, we kind of live this dual life, because outside of being a parent, like I'm making jokes about my family, jokes about my kids, jokes about myself as a parent. I'm using language that I normally wouldn't use in front of my daughters. And then you kind of go into dad mode, and you're at a parent-teacher conference, you're at a concert, and you're hugging kids and your kids, and you're throwing them in the pool, and you kind of like have like this dichotomy. And we were like, we should talk to other comics and just talk about being parents. Yeah, and here we are
mixing
doing
the two worlds together.
Yep. Yeah. So we had episodes coming out with Justin Lamar, Jay Simpson. Those are our first 2 guests. We'll have Steve Bickle on soon, Naeem Ali, and any other parents in the Philadelphia.
Are you going to have any mothers on there, or just all?
Yep. Abby Crutchfield, she's a New York comedian. Abby Crutchfield and Luke Thayer are both New York comedians that are married. Yeah. And they have a 5-year-old.
Oh wow.
And Emily Epstein White will be on an episode soon. So yes, there'll be mothers on there as well. Yeah. It's not a bias.
That's it. I wasn't checking for that reason. I was more just like curious. I'm like, oh, if I ever have kids, I'll come on, All right.
Absolutely. You'll be welcome.
That's it. This is Albert Davis, everybody. Some of you requested he came back. He came back. I hope we put on just as good of a show this time as we did last time. I think it was a great conversation. And I will leave his link to his Instagram below if you want to listen to his podcast, or if you're from Philly and you want to, check out his ads to see like when he's actually going to be performing comedy shows. And that's it. Pranzata Podcast, episode number 67. You guys have a good day. Bye.